Hello, everyone. I've had this idea for a while, which is to talk to ChatGPT about the CTMU. Perhaps, debate with it about it, try and prove the CTMU to it, or just in general see how much it can understand of it. And when I logged into ChatGPT recently, I noticed that it gave me some message about how it can now remember previous conversations. I think in particular when you tell it to remember something explicitly in the beginning of the message, it can retain that information. That gave me the idea that this might be an interesting time to try and quote, or teach it the CTMU, so to speak. Just see how much of it can understand. Because a limitation I was thinking of before is that it might be limited to one session and how much it could gain, and that it would be back to square one every time you log back in. But apparently, I've been asking it here about what it does, and let's see. If you try to teach me the CTMU over multiple conversations and ask me to remember all related content, I will store concise summaries or key concepts about it as long as you clearly specify what to remember. Here's how it would work. Okay. So it retains summaries. It wouldn't retain exact verbatim quotes of the material. What I was thinking of doing was just feeding paragraphs into it one at a time and telling it to remember or retain a concise summary of them each time or something. One thing I'm curious about, I'm going to ask it something here. I'm curious how long it will retain them for, if there's a time limit on that. Where's my text-to-speech thing? Okay, it's unavailable, I guess. How long would you retain your memory of what is clearly asked of you to remember? I retain information across our conversations indefinitely. Alright. Unless you explicitly ask me to forget. Right. That sounds a little convenient. So indefinitely. So it could just, I guess I'll just take its word for it. We could just do this indefinitely and slowly expand this robot's understanding of the CTMU. Perhaps. Maybe not. We'll see how it does. So I thought I would start with an introduction to mathematical metaphysics. We'll just go ahead and give it the abstract. Wish I had my text-to-speech thing on so I could just speak into it to type. I'm going to start giving you paragraphs of Chris Langen's Intro to Mathematical Metaphysics. I want you to try and retain the concepts from each paragraph so I can talk to you about them in future conversations. Understood. Okay, let's see here. Now it says something about telling it explicitly each message to remember it in order to make sure that it retains it. So I'm just going to say remember this abstract of the paper. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Let me ask, what is the phrase I should include at the beginning of each paragraph to ensure that you retain the information indefinitely? Please remember the concepts from the following paragraph. Perfect. Cool. Okay. Abstract. Boom. Let's see how well it does with this. Oh, we don't have a double arrow here. It might want to know what that double arrow is. Maybe I can get a double arrow symbol real fast. Huh? Okay, that looks like a double arrow. Boom. We'll help it along a little bit when we can. Memory updated. That's okay, that's wow. I didn't know it was going to do that. I've saved the core concepts from this paragraph for future reference. Give me a summary of what you have remembered from this paragraph. This is so wild. This paragraph, okay, defines metaphysics as a logically consistent framework that connects perceptual reality with cognitive perceptual syntax related to mind. This connection is outlined through simple mathematical principles forming an advanced logical formulation. The cognitive theoretic model of the universe solves issues with Cartesian dualism by using the concept of self-duality, which ensures identity remains consistent when switching between the objective and spatiotemporal data types. Expressing expressed as M-arrow-U, this identity creates a logical and geometric framework that incorporates its own medium and forms a self-contained model of reality. Not bad. I'd say it's not too bad. Please remember the concept. Okay, so let's see if we can compare. Since the time of Aristotle, metaphysics has been an ill-defined term. This is Chris Langan now, his exact words. This paper defines it as a logically idempotent metalinguistic identity of reality, which couples the two initial ingredients of awareness, perceptual reality, the basis of physics, and cognitive perceptual syntax, a formalization of mind. The explanation has been reduced to a few very simple, clearly explained mathematical ingredients. This paper contains no assumptions or arguable assertions, and is therefore presented as an advanced formulation of logic, which has been updated for meaningful reference to the structure of reality at large. This structure, called the Cognitive Theoretic Model of the Universe, or CTMU, resolves the problems attending Cartesian dualism by replacing dualism with the mathematical property of self-duality, meaning, for reality theoretic purposes, the quantum level invariance of identity under permutation of objective and spatiotemporal data types. It's a really interesting sentence, actually. The quantum level invariance. It's interesting that he said quantum level invariance instead of just invariance. Under permutation of objective and spatiotemporal data types. Yeah, objective meaning like object and versus space-time. That's relevant to space-time object triality, where the objective data type is like our perception and the spatiotemporal data type is space and time would be two. I guess two dual components or aspects of our mind. The spatiotemporal data type corresponds to our mind anyway. The CTMU takes the form of a global coupling or superposition of mind and physical reality in a self-dual metaphysical identity, which can be intrinsically developed into a logico-geometrically self-dual, ontologically self-contained language, incorporating its own medium of existence and comprising its own model therein. Alright, well I could continue to ask it questions to see how much it actually understands of that. But I think I'm just going to give it more material to work with. The introduction is not, there's not a whole lot of actual material in it. He just talks about the stubbornness of Cartesian dualism and the inability of academic circles to address it, and the fact that they haven't recognized the CTMU. And then the fact that he references himself largely because he's the only one who's really put out material on the CTMU. So I'm going to, I guess, skip that and just move on to the necessity of metaphysics. Okay. Oh, so please remember the concepts from the following paragraph, okay? Please. Memory updated. Give a summary each time your memory is updated. The paragraph emphasizes that science is deeply committed to the concept of a theory of everything, a comprehensive theory of reality. It asserts that reality's structure and history align with the TOE that can be articulated through a sufficiently expressive language. The fact that reality is accessible to the mind and senses suggests that a theory should exist. Ultimately, the paragraph proposes that one can see the universe and recognize that a TOE shares its structure. I'm going to say, okay, each time your memory is updated, give a summary of the update and how it relates to the previous information that you have retained. Each time your memory is updated with CTMU content, should I be that too? Nah, not get too complicated with it. Yeah, that way we can have it give a summary also of how its understanding or knowledge base is growing as the paragraphs continue to come in. All right. Continuing on. Unfortunately, getting any farther than this entails a few difficulties. For example, we must decide how reality should be studied in order to discover its structure. And by whom? A closely related issue, what the heck, which we encounter before even getting around to establishing a valid correspondence between theory and content, is how to identify a language of sufficient expressive power to contain a valid, comprehensive description of reality. Okay. I hope y'all think this is interesting. I think this is an interesting endeavor. Albeit perhaps time-consuming. That's a weird spacing. Remember the concepts from the following paragraph. This paragraph highlights the challenges of progressing towards a comprehensive theory of reality. It raises key issues such as deciding on the proper methodology for studying reality's structure and determining who should conduct this study. Additionally, it emphasizes the difficulty of finding a language capable of expressing a comprehensive description of reality. This builds upon earlier points about the search for a comprehensive theory of everything and the CTMU. Both frameworks require a language. Both frameworks? Yeah, it's one framework. Require a language with sufficient expressive power to describe the comprehensive structure and history of reality. Yes. If there were a scientific consensus on these issues, it would go something like this. Reality should be studied by physical scientists using the tools and methods of the physical sciences, and there can be no better language for expressing their findings than the language of physics. For, after all, physics is the most fundamental science, that to which all other sciences can supposedly be reduced. Physical reductionism. What in the Sam Hill? Oh. There we go. Remember the concepts of the following paragraph. Boom. This paragraph proposes a likely scientific consensus on how reality should be studied and expressed. Yes, that's just the prevailing belief. That is correct. Now let's see how it thinks about the problem with that, the problem with physical reductionism. Or reduction to everything to physics. The physics is not self-explanatory. Therefore, it just lends itself to explanatory regression or turtles all the way down. I'm saying please. I guess it's good to be polite in all circumstances. Perhaps. Not really. In all, perhaps. Remember the concepts from the following paragraph. This is it's just updating its memory forever. I wonder if there's a limit to how much its memory can be updated. Yes, physics isn't self-explanatory. It must explain physics itself. Comprehensive theory of reality must explain physics itself, including how it aligns with reality and the origins and minds of the scientists behind it. Okay. Yeah, that's good. We'll just go in sort of more rapid succession now, so we can get somewhere. It would be interesting as opposed to like debating or trying to convince ChatGPT of the CTMU just out of the box, so to speak, versus debating with it after feeding it a lot of Chris's material. You know, maybe you could like create simulated debate partners of varying levels of difficulty or something if you wanted to hone your understanding or debate skills or anything like that. Kind of an idea that occurred to me. We're just gonna combine these paragraphs. Interesting. I'm curious what the limit. So we know that it will remember things indefinitely, but how much can it remember? What is the limit of how much? It's kind of, I guess that's redundant. How much you can remember? indefinitely. Well, I can remember how much is quite a bit of information. What numbers, man? I don't have a strict limit on the number of facts or summaries I can remember indefinitely. Indefinitely. You don't have a strict limit, okay? Do you have a soft limit? I don't have a precisely defined limit or specific cutoff. Do you have a roughly defined limit? I just want something, man. I feel like I'm talking to the PR wing of ChatGPT right now. There's no exact numerical limit. That is not what I asked, was it? Is there an inexact limit? This is not going anywhere, so I'm just going to continue. It sounds like I can remember a lot. Let me just say, for example, could you remember summaries of each paragraph of Chris Langan's entire corpus? While I could attempt to summarize and remember concepts from a large amount of Chris Langan's work, there isn't an explicit limit I can provide up front. So we're just gonna try. I guess that's all you can do. Okay, necessity of metaphysics. I think we'll give it one more section here and then call it a video. Just wanted to get the concept out there, you know. All right. Remember the concepts from the following paragraph. Is it going to do the thing? Yes, thank you. Okay, continuing on. Remember the concepts from the following paragraph. Bam! This paragraph describes science as the coupling of two essential ingredients: perceptual reality, the observable world, and the cognitive apparatus that processes and interprets it. This coupling itself forms an initial ingredient referred to as M. Dualisms and their resolutions, dualic structures, significantly impact scientific epistemology. Both cognitive and perceptual ingredients possess structure, and the relationship between them is also structured. This relationship is described as a syndiphionic relation. This ties back to earlier discussions about addressing dualism through the CTMU's self-duality, as well as the relationship between physics and a metaphysical framework. Here, the coupling of perception and cognition forms a foundational ingredient, M, which echoes the CTMU's global coupling of mind and physical reality. The structured relationship between perception and cognition mirrors the concept of a unified metaphysical meta-language, encompassing both perceptual reality and cognitive frameworks. It's an interesting summary. That was science proceeds by formal cognitive abstraction of perceptual content, for which it requires just two initial ingredients: perceptual reality, our perceptual relationship with the world of percepts or observable states, and the cognitive apparatus through which perceptual content, as well as the perceptual relationship between percept and percipient, is recognized and processed. Indeed, science can be regarded as the coupling of these two ingredients, and inasmuch as the ingredients are coupled as an initial ingredient in its own right, later on we'll be calling it M, hence the above dualisms and their remedial dualities. Yes, remedial. Bear heavily on scientific epistemology. The cognitive and perceptual ingredients of reality have structure, and like all relationships, their relationship has structure as well. This structure is that of a syndiphionic relation. Beautiful. So I'm gonna call that a video. This is an experimental thing. I guess I'll make a playlist of videos involving interacting with the AI on the subject of the CTMU, whether or not I'll be like discussing / debating / arguing / battling it, or just feeding it the CTMU. And if any of y'all have any reservations of why I shouldn't be doing this, I thought about it. I thought, I had questions myself, I don't want to be totally naive for sure, and I don't think I am. Obviously this thing is in the hands of, the powers that be, or however you want to say that. And I don't know if I'm just like giving information that is going to be abused or used to obfuscate the CTMU. Just anybody with any concerns, leave them in the comments below or send me a message, because I am not totally insensitive to that. In fact, I think I'm pretty sensitive to those concerns. But I just think that it's probably not really going to make a difference if I do this. And it's a cool and intriguing idea to me. And I've been wanting to kind of do videos like this for a while, so I'm happy to be doing it this evening. And I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a blessed morning, noon, night, whenever, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video.